This episode is where we go beyond the headshot and into personal branding photography. We're going to learn the secret to running every shoot with purpose and the free marketing strategy our expert uses to get clients from Google, and how this high-value approach guarantees you can charge premium fees.
Welcome to Commercial Photographer, your guide to marketing, creativity, and growth. This is a podcast that helps commercial, brand, and headshot photographers navigate the competitive world of commercial photography with actionable strategies to grow your business.
Well, hello everybody, it's Marcus here, and you'll be sad to hear I'm on my own this week. Oh, Sam's not with us. He's on holiday somewhere, no doubt sunning himself on a beach with a cocktail in his hand. But fear not, listeners, you won't have to listen to me rambling on about this and that. We've got a guest today. We've got a great guest, a real personal favourite of mine. We've got Heike Delmore all the way from Canada. Heike, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me. I
am very well, and it's, as I said, it's an absolute pleasure, Heike.
If you're serious about photography business growth, you cannot miss this conversation. Our expert is here to share the 3 keys that allowed her to build a successful personal branding photography studio over 13 years. First, stay tuned to discover the single mindset shift that immediately replaces traditional posing and unlocks massive value by focusing on the client's future success. Second, you'll hear about the surprisingly simple free marketing strategy for photographers that works through Google to get new bookings. And finally, prepare to learn how this purpose-driven approach creates incredible high-end value for your clients, helping them to collapse their timelines and instantly justifying your premium rate.
Heike, so tell us where you are first of all.
So I'm in Canada. I'm in Windsor, Ontario. I'm originally from Toronto.
You have been in branding photography for an awful long time. How long have you been doing branding photography for?
I've been doing it for about 13 years. 13 years. Before that, I was doing weddings, but I do come from a marketing background. I worked in advertising in Canada and also in Germany.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Yes. So I worked in marketing. So basically a lot of design, layout, choosing the correct photos that, make someone feel something or speak to a target audience that brand wants to attract. So I have a background in that. So that kind of goes nicely with the photography part. And that's when, about 13 years ago, I married them together and started doing personal branding. And at that time, a lot of people didn't know what personal branding was. So,
they still don't, Heike.
They still don't. So people will come and they'll ask for a headshot. But oftentimes that's not really what they want. They just don't know how to verbalize that they need branding photos to, tell the story about their brand or what they're selling or where they're going or who they're becoming.
Wow, yeah. I'm going to dive into that a little bit more. I just want to step back what you're saying there. Sure. So you were putting these shoots together in Germany, and you were involved in the production of the shoot, the visualization of it.
So basically we were choosing more stock photography at the time.
Gotcha.
And I remember one project we were working on when Eurocard and MasterCard were merging. And, coming from Canada, I guess I didn't realize that there was a difference in the photography or in photos that would resonate with people who, live different places or different target audiences. So I remember I put the whole layout together, the whole project, and I thought it was fantastic. And my creative director, looked at me and he was like, well, this isn't going to work. And I was like, oh, okay. And I had chosen photos that, were bright and fun. And I thought, hopeful and happy. And he pointed out to me that, this doesn't resonate here, maybe in America,
in the German market.
And he broke it down for me, which was really enlightening. He said, what resonates with people here is something that is a little bit more real, something, a little bit more realistic, maybe not as joyous and happy. People would interpret that as maybe a little cheesy or fake. There was, even the colors not being as vibrant and bright at the time, something that was a little bit more neutral and realistic.
So that was giving you that job was giving you a great introduction into the language of photography, the language of images,
and just knowing when you create an image, what do you want it to say? It's, great if technically the light is good and, your face looks symmetrical. But that isn't necessarily what draws somebody in. And with personal branding, that is not necessarily what speaks to the client or the person that you're trying to grab their attention and make them feel something.
Yeah, well said, definitely. So did you have a camera at that stage, or is this something that came later?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I was in the camera club in grade 7. Yes,
well,
I've always, loved photography. I think most photographers would say that, they grew up loving photography. I collected every fashion magazine. I have my Vogues over here from 1990s, 93.
I can see that.
Yes. So I kept them all, and I would stare at them in high school, and I would rip out my favorite ads. And, Herb Ritz, I thought he was, he was my absolute favorite.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
So
his range of Herb Ritz's range in a still life in the studio or a fashion shooting location, he could shoot everything, and it all had his personal touch to it.
Absolutely. So I was kind of obsessed with photography to begin with. So everything just kind of came together, to come to personal branding now.
Yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. So let's carry on that story you were saying. So basically, was it 13, 14 years ago you started coming into the personal branding space? What space there was at that time?
Yes, it was headshots. I was just, kept talking to the client and learning more about their business. And okay, and so where are you going with this? And, are you rolling anything new out this year? Or are you expanding? Or, and it just kind of grew into a consultation of where they wanted their brand to go, who they wanted to become, what that looked like. And then, I was selling more than just a headshot because, remember that shot where, you want to be that speaker? This is the one that we did where you're in actions, as if you're speaking to an audience. And then they would buy that image because they knew that they would need that in order to market themselves now as a speaker, for example.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's interesting. I mean, in all that time, it hasn't really, changed that much, dare I say. Maybe in America, I know people there when I speak to my American colleagues, they're much more aware of the branding and the power of photography. But I think people still do come to me and, they're just looking for a headshot, or they know that's what they think, isn't it? They think that's what they want is just a headshot, or that's the limit of it.
Yeah.
So you were an early adopter there of changing people's minds from just thinking about moving beyond the headshot.
Absolutely. Yes. And like you said, they didn't know that they needed that until we started exploring all of the other places where they could be using photography. I mean, for example, you go to a website and if you just see the one headshot, that's not really telling you a lot about who you might be working with, what they're like to work with, what does their space look like? Or anything like that. It doesn't tell, it's like the book cover, right? The headshot is the book cover.
Yeah.
The pages within it are the personal branding, right?
So generic headshots.
Right.
And I think they've even becoming more generic now. I mean, there's a skill to doing it, definitely, and getting the best out of people in a very short amount of time.
Yes. That's another,
Yeah.
facet.
But they do look very similar.
They do.
Okay, so you're in your studio now. Is this where you primarily do most of your shoots, or?
Yes, that's a great question. So I started off in my garage. So I had a garage that I transformed into my studio. As I moved more into the personal branding, I realized I was like, okay, so now I have 2 couches and 2 coffee tables and 2 of everything. So I moved and I actually have a home studio now. So the first 2 rooms are backdrops and lighting. But we'll also use, for example, the kitchen area and the lifestyle area to get that variety in photos. So I do most of my shoots here. My clients really like to come here because I guess they see the photos that I have, on my Instagram, on my website, and most of those have been done here. So I'd say, 98% of the shoots we do here.
Okay, 98%. That's all of them, isn't it?
Well, I will say sometimes clients will want to do a little bit of a hybrid shoot. So we can start off here. And if it's close enough by, I can go to their location, if they've opened up a new brick and mortar location or something like that, and we can go out there for some additional photos. Yeah.
And just without getting too technical, we're not a technical show here, but what are you using? Natural light in the studios, or are you using flash lighting or strobe? What kind of lighting do you use?
So I use a variety of both. I really love the look of natural light. I feel like it's especially for personal branding, it gives that realness. But I do also use strobes when needed. And I like to bounce the strobe if it's a gloomy day, for example, like today, I like to bounce it off other walls to give that natural light effect to the photos. Yeah.
I mean, I encourage our listeners to seek out Heike's work. It looks beautiful, and it's definitely got a very distinctive style, very editorial.
Yes.
Very fashion-based, no doubt about that. And the reason I say editorial, it's got, you leave a lot of space for text and logos and stuff like that, and then you've got a really good eye for the placing of the subject.
Absolutely. And that is also what clients need in personal branding, so they can repurpose those photos, right? So, we kind of touched on this when we spoke before, but, a video, oftentimes you can use it once, right?
Yeah, sure.
With a photo, you can oftentimes repurpose it within your brand with different messaging to, get a lot of use out of it.
Oh, and in some ways, it's a bit of our downfall, isn't it? We give them so much material that they can, and sometimes enough material for a year or even 2 years from one photo shoot,
Yeah.
And that's great because you're using your own space. You know it inside out. You know what's going to work. It's going to, you know your camera angles. That must really help out a lot, actually.
It does. It really does. It really speeds up the process.
Do you shoot tethered at all? Shoot to the computer or just use the back of the camera?
Ooh, that's a good question. So I don't shoot tethered, and I don't show the client the back of the camera during the shoot.
Yeah.
I found that it can it's 50-50. So it can either, really spur the person on and they're like, wow, this is going great, or they can start picking themselves apart. And that can totally change the atmosphere, the feeling that they have for the rest of the shoot. So I don't show them the back. I say, no, I don't shoot I don't show anyone the back of the camera. But I'm excited to show you the photos after the shoot.
Yeah, great. And that's a nice, how long would your shoot normally last with an average client?
Yes. So, the average client, we do hair and makeup here. So hair and makeup meets them here in the studio. And I shoot for an average, I would say about 90 minutes.
Yeah.
I make a plan. They bring in their outfits. I found that the more outfits that they bring in, the more that they're likely to walk away with and purchase.
Yes.
But it also gives them variety too. You're already here. You're already getting hair and makeup done. We might as well do a variety so you can choose after which ones are your favorites. So, yeah.
I agree with you there. Though I have been thinking lately about when you think about branding and you look at like a TV show, like a documentary show that's over like a few weeks, the presenter normally wears the same clothes throughout, don't they? Because that does give you a real solid look,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like one of our famous natural history presenters, David Attenborough.
I love him.
Yes. He always wears chinos and a light blue shirt. And that's what you identify with him. But I can also see how that would need maybe buying less prints or using less photos. I don't know.
Yes.
But
you make a great point. And I found too that psychologically, when people I tell my clients to bring 3 to 5 outfits. Men usually bring 3, women usually bring 5 or 6. But within that range, to have, make that first one your super professional look. The middle one's more of a business casual look, and then one casual look. And the reason I want that variety is so when they're using the images, for social media or their website, people actually feel like they know that person outside of the office. If you can show them in different clothing, not just the clothes that they would wear in the office. And that makes them more memorable. And people actually feel like they know them. Oh, she's just like me. I'm going to get along with her. I'll hire her for this or that. So, yes, having a change of clothes, you can sell more photos, but also the photos are working for your client.
I think so. No, I do the same as you. Even though I've got this idea about one outfit, it's never going to happen. I love clothing. I find my background is as a fashion photographer.
Yes.
And I just find I get so much from the clothing. If they put a different outfit on, I immediately can just see how I can do a different shoot with it, or a detail or something I might hone in on. So the clothing is a massive part in putting my shoot together. It must be the same for you.
Absolutely. And, with the clothing too, I try to tell people, don't bring in stuff that isn't you, right? This isn't a makeover, right? So this is the difference between like portrait photography and personal branding. We want you to still be recognizable. We don't want someone to meet you in person and say, hey, where's Susan? And you're like, oh, that's me, right? We want you to look like you, but on a just really good, super fresh, polished day.
Exactly right. And that's what being, and it's still authentic, isn't it? This buzzword. It's still them. It's just, as you say, them on their best day. Exactly.
Absolutely.
I like that a lot. So, whereabouts are you finding most of your clients these days, Heike?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. So interesting. Google. So this is something that, I just, was talking about. I have a top performers group for everyone who's gone through my coaching mastermind in the top performers group. And they're all the ones who are just, kicking butt in personal branding photography. And, we discussed, Google profile. And so Google profile, so it used to be Google business or Google places or Google this and that. So, yes, you can upload photos to that profile or to your business, but there's also a section that is called updates, so just like you can, do a Instagram post, you can now post daily on your Google profile, and Google rewards you. They're like, oh, thank you for using Google. And when someone does a Google search, they're more likely to show you in that organic search, hopefully on the first page, as a reward. I guess Google is like, thank you for using us. So.
That is so interesting. I know Google My Business, and we've talked about this on the show. It's the it's the thing that comes up, with a picture of where you are, and
with the map and so forth. Yes. Yeah.
I wonder if this has been rolled out in the UK, this update. That sounds very, very interesting.
Yes. So if you go on your own Google Places or Google Business or whatever you want to call it, and you scroll down, you can see where it says, I believe it says updates. And so what I do is I take what I post on Instagram, for example, take that same content, just repurpose it. So I'll take the tags out, for example, and maybe put like a URL, because you can hyperlink in it, in the Google profile update. And I will just repurpose those photos and the text that I put down, the description or the caption, and put it in Google. So I've noticed in the last month, because on my intake form, it says, how did you hear about me? Because I want to know where my marketing's working and where it's not. And a lot of it is saying Google, whereas before it was some of it, but I've noticed an increase.
Wow, and it's free as well, isn't it? We just point that out. Yeah,
it's free.
I love it. That sounds, because I noticed you don't do LinkedIn very much. I did look at your LinkedIn profile earlier.
I should.
On LinkedIn. Well, look, why should you? You're getting your work from other ways. I mean, I think LinkedIn in the UK is quite big. I think it's actually it's seen differently in the UK to how it is in America, and then maybe Canada as well. But in Instagram, certainly you've mentioned a few times there, you're at home on Instagram.
And I feel that, people, at least here in the day, they're on LinkedIn perhaps, right? But at night, before they go to bed, they're still scrolling on Instagram.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm still capturing those same people, just at a different time of day.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, Heike. So here we are. You got a beautiful business going there.
Yeah.
You got your studio set up. You've got a great intake of people coming in. How did you start to get into the education side?
Okay, so what I noticed, a lot of people started asking me, for help. Other photographers. I was also one of the first mentors with Sue Bryce.
Yes.
So yes, back then. And I was the only one doing personal branding back then, right? They were all doing portraits and so forth. But I was really drawn to the personal branding side of it. So I got a taste of it there. And then I noticed, when people were asking me for help, what really set my approach apart from, what other people were teaching in personal branding. So sometimes, for example, people will say, do you have a checklist that I can have? Or I need to know some poses.
Some what? Sorry, some coding?
Some poses. Like what poses?
Yes.
I don't know how to pose my client. And I notice that is very surface, right? So this is what I do is not one size fits all. It's personal, right? It's personal branding. I want to do something different. I want to create a brand, a streamlined look that is, personalized to that client based on, not only who they are, but who are you becoming, right? Who do you, what are your goals within this year, 2 years, 5 years? So I don't start with a pose. I start with a purpose.
Beautiful.
Right. Yeah. So, and then the poses come based around those purposes. I'll give you an example. A lady, Ashley, came to me. She was a wellness coach and she had done a photo shoot before with another photographer and she loved her images. She said, but these aren't taking me where I want to go to. They're kind of just showing where I am right now.
Right.
So we started discussing the purpose. Okay. So what are your goals? Where are you going with your business? And she had mentioned, okay, well, I'd love to work with these, top brands in my industry. That's probably going to take about 5 years for them to really see me or believe that I am the right person to work with them. So what we did during the shoot was I coached her during the shoot to embody that person who she thought she, would be in 5 years. Walk in as that person. How does she walk in? How does she hold herself? When people have a problem, how does she solve that problem? How is that different from how you are right now? How is that different from how people perceive you right now? What is the difference? What are we taking away? What are we adding? And so we did the shoot. She loved her photos and she started using those photos. So during the shoot, we got her to embody and walk in as that person she wanted to become. But now she had the photos and she was using those on her website and her social media. And 6 months later, she wrote me an email and she's like, you are not going to believe this. Remember that brand that I said, I wanted to work with? They reached out to me. And we're working together. So we collapsed what she thought was going to take 5 years into 6 months because she was already walking in the room as that person, but also other people were seeing her now as that person.
You're shaping people's futures, Heike. You're totally predicting, getting them in the space where they want to be. That has got such incredible value.
Thank you. And I wouldn't say I'm shaping it. I'm taking what they're telling me and I'm, those are words. And then I'm creating a visual around that. So it's not about a pose and it's not about a checklist. It's about, okay, so I'm going to get you to sit over there. Let's say I make sure the light looks good and everything as well. Right.
Of course.
And then I coach them with the information they've given me to step into where they want to get to, or who that person looks like.
That's brilliant. Now, Heike, we're coming up to the end of the show, sadly,
Okay.
because it always goes so quickly. But
Yes.
so, I mean, you don't know this because you didn't talk about it with the show, but I actually did one of your courses.
Oh, did you?
Yes, the headshot course, that from headshot to branding, or beyond the headshot, wasn't it?
Yes, from headshot to personal branding.
Brand, yeah.
Yes.
What have you? What courses are you doing at the moment that may of interest to our listeners?
Yes. Well, I have a free giveaway for your listeners. And I think I'm going to give it the link to you, Marcus. But what it is a download to help your clients figure out where they want to be in a year, 5 years. So it walks them through that whole process of thinking deeper and questions they can ask themselves. And the download is 3 parts. So it dives into those questions so they can sit back and grab a coffee and really think it through. And by the end, by part 3 in that download, they can actually list out all the places where they're going to be needing photos, which will help, other photographers know, okay, yes, she says she needs something on her about page. Oh, she needs this because she wants to get into speaking. I need to take a photo, where looks like she's speaking to an audience and so forth. So I still have the course from headshot to personal branding for photographers that you took. I hope you liked it.
I thought it was brilliant, really good,
Okay.
and great Photoshop skills there as well. Actually, I meant to mention I'm very good at that.
Thank you. And then the free giveaway will help your clients or your listeners here. If you want to adopt that approach of not just doing poses, but, finding your client's purpose and building the shoot around the purpose.
That is brilliant. We'll obviously put a link in the show notes.
Thank you.
And then just finally, Heike, where's the future holding for you? Where are you moving towards yourself?
Oh, that's a great question. So I recently took a speaking course because I'd like to do more speaking. And it was so great. And then you emailed me and I'm like, absolutely, I will be on your show. So I'd like to do more speaking on, not only podcasts, but at summits, at events, at, conferences and so forth.
I've got to be honest, Heike, I'm surprised you don't do more. You're so well known in the industry that you don't do a lot. You don't do a lot of speaking, or maybe
I know I need to do more.
Do more, definitely. And what would you be? What could you be speaking about? Personal branding or growth? What kind of things would you be talking about?
Yes, I would be speaking about personal branding. If the audience is photographers, how to build a profitable and sustainable personal branding business, how to, differentiate a lot of this whole AI stuff coming in, right? Like, how do you differentiate your photos? How do you still get clients when people can just upload their photos to AI and get branding photos, right? How can you still build out that niche and be profitable and sustainable? And then speaking also to entrepreneurs on why it's important. It's not just about the photo, right? It's about, collapsing time and helping you reach your goals faster.
Heike, that was an insightful show. It's clear that your approach to personal branding photography is truly strategic. So, just for our listeners, let's recap 3 areas we covered. First, we learned about purpose over pose philosophy, understanding that by focusing on a client's future goals, you create images with immense lasting value. Second, we covered marketing and SEO, discovering the power of the surprisingly simple free marketing strategy that our expert uses to capture new leads from Google. And finally, we highlighted the ultimate value, how your photography can actually collapse time for clients, accelerating their business success and securing you high-end rates.
And don't forget that you can get for free the Commercial Photographer Guide to Creativity and Marketing. After all, that's what this show is all about. To get your free download, all you need to do is go to our website at commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. Let me do that one again. commercial-photographer-podcast.com/creativity. And from there, you can get your free guide from us to marketing and creativity.
Heike, that has been great. So quick, so quick. And there's a lot of stuff you haven't talked about. I know that we sort of had the idea in the pre-show, but we're going to get you back on again.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Marcus. I really appreciate it, and I love talking with you.
Okay, thank you very much, Heike. You've been a great guest. And we look forward to see you on the speaking circuit and even maybe coming over to little old UK over here as well.
Oh, I'd love that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. If you want to make sure you never miss a show, head to the website commercial-photographer-podcast.com and sign up to the newsletter. We'll be back next week with more practical advice to help you grow your business. See you next time.